Welcome to The Soft Life with me, Candy Washington, where we explore all things self-love, manifestations, and relationships with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. So be sure to subscribe, share, and join us on Patreon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington, and like the promo said, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. With that, let's dive right into the mess. So, first up, Vanderpump Rules. Like, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So, as we know, there was the rumor that it almost came to blows. It almost came to a fight at the reunion. Now, Lala has said that there were, two people who got into a fight. Andy Cohen couldn't even break them up, and security had to get in. Now, it was also said that it wasn't Tom Sandoval, Ariana, or Raquel. But now Jax Taylor is getting into the mix with who he thinks almost got into the physical fight, okay? He is spilling the tea. Now let's get into it. This is from page 6. Jax Taylor confirmed the taping of the Vanderpump Rules reunion nearly ended in fist fights. I heard it was crazy. I heard it was everything that everyone thought it was going to be. The former reality star told Extra at the 2023 iHeartRadio Awards on Monday. Uncomfortable. There was security there. There was almost brawls, he added. Now, like I said before, we knew that there was almost a fight, but they were saying it wasn't the three, Schwartz, Ariana, or Raquel. However, this is what Jax is saying. He's saying he further revealed that the boys had to be separated at one point when confrontations over Sandoval and Raquel Levis's affair became explosive, okay? I have a feeling it's the two boys. In fact, I know that because I talked to one of them. He said, I talked to him right after it happened. I checked in with everybody. The former Bravo celebrity, 43, and his wife, Brittany Cartwright, also weighed in on the paparazzi photos of Raquel and Sandoval having a heart-to-heart outside the reunion set, saying that he does not feel bad for them. They knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't like, a hookup. This has been going on for a long time, premeditated, Taylor continued, adding that the pair deserve everything that's coming because of their lack of empathy. Now, this is the thing. When Jax Taylor says the boys, do we think, because people are just saying, oh, he must be talking about Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval, but do we think he's talking about James and Tom Schwartz? Because I had said that before, that I felt like there might be something that goes down between James and Tom Schwartz, because don't forget, Schwartz was a willing, complicit participant in the whole shenanigans, shout out to Scheana Shay, shenanigans of the situation, trying to get with Raquel and flirting and all this, that, and the third. We know that they also have a confrontation this season over it too, where James throws a drink in Schwartz's face. So he just says the boys. The boys could be James and Tom Schwartz, or the boys could be Sandoval and Schwartz. Now, the argument for it to be Sandoval and Schwartz, I think, is a couple of things. Number one, their friendship was already going on the outs over the restaurant, over, Sandoval checking out, doing his whole paying to be a rock star, going on tour, not paying attention, hemorrhaging money from the restaurant. Schwartz was like, we're about to run out of money. We might go bankrupt. Schwartz is putting up money from the sale of his house. Then all of the blowback from Sandoval having his affair with Rachel Raquel. So I'm sure that's not good. If you're messing up my reputation, but more than that, if you're messing up my money, I'm talking about Schwartz. If he must be like, if you're messing up my money, if I am now divorced, if I am now went from a mansion to an apartment, if I am now using the money from said mansion to keep this restaurant afloat, and you are off having sex with our friend's girlfriend, or ex-fiance, you are off having sex with our friend's, you're cheating on our friend or whatever the case may be, you're off doing your thing, and I'm left here holding the bag. I could see how that could be, is going on. So, but I think it's James and Schwartz. That's what my gut is saying. And I said that before. I think it's James and Schwartz, but put it down below. Who do you guys think it is? Okay. Who do you guys think it is between the two of them? Let's finish up the article and then we'll move on to our next story. He says, it's a crappy situation to be in. You got to own it. You got to be a man, he said. This is the time where Tom Sandoval needs to learn how to be a man because he's never been one before, so this is the time. The former bartender also shared that Sandoval's now ex-girlfriend, Ariana Madix, met up with him and Brittany at a bar after the taping, and she was already glowing. Now, this confirms also what Lala said. Lala said that, at the reunion, Ariana was looking amazing. She was looking great. And she said for the first time, oh, I'm looking hot. And Lala and Sheena, because Lala said this on Scheana Shay's podcast. I listened to that this morning, and she was saying how, Ariana usually never says she looks good. She never says she's hot. She's had body dysmorphia, Sheena said. So she kind of looks at herself and says, oh, I'm fat. My arms are fat. I don't look good. This, that, my face, which I get, it's tough. One, being on camera, and two, living in that world, not even just as a reality star or a celebrity, but honestly, as any person, looking at Instagram models, looking at celebrities, looking at people down the street on your Instagram account, on TikTok, who have these quote perfect bodies. And then you look at yourself and of course you pick yourself apart. You feel bad about yourself, which isn't right. And it's not the way it should be. But I understand, having that pressure to be perfect and feeling like you don't fit that mold. So I thought it was really great that they were saying, Ariana is like looking in the mirror, she's feeling hot, she's feeling herself, she's ready to get up there, and she's already glowing up. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Sandoval, meanwhile, went out for an intimate dinner with Raquel after the reunion. Now, I think this is the same restaurant that Lala said he had also taken Ariana before. So it's just like, boy, bye. Like, you don't even have like new spots to go to. Oh, sorry, it's my laundry. Go find a new spot or whatever. So you guys, put it down below. Let me know what you guys think. It also says, as Page Six previously reported, host Andy Cohen had to physically restrain some cast members during filming. Lala also said that security had to get in. And we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this video. But so I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Who do you think it was that almost came to blows? All right. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to our next. Oh, and join our newsletter. It's in the description box down below. It's free. Let's move on to our next story. So this one is all about booty calls. So Rachel Raquel was spotted, aka seen leaving Tom Sandoval's and Ariana's home. Don't forget, that is Ariana's house. As we all know, Ariana is filming, I believe she's in Canada. She's filming a Lifetime movie with Megan Good. And it's a very similar theme to the same Lifetime movie that Garcelle Bouvet from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills executive produced and starred. It's about missing and exploited girls when it comes to sex trafficking and human trafficking. Garcelle's movie was really more about, Black girls missing. Ariana's movie is about a woman who has to buy back her daughter. So shout out to them. They're booked. They're busy. They're doing the damn thing. Okay, now they have been spotted outside. Now let's get into the article, and then we'll break down more of what's going on. So this is from TMZ. All right. It says, update, 9:50 a.m., Tom Sandoval rep tells TMZ, Raquel did not spend the night at Tom and Ariana's house. She stopped by the house Wednesday afternoon for about half an hour to say goodbye to Tom before he left town. Listen. I don't care what his reps are saying. Why did she have to stop by before he left town? For what? A booty call? Like, what are you stopping by for that you can't text, you can't FaceTime, you can't DM? Why do you have to be in person to say goodbye? if these two are so-called so in love or staying together or seeing where it goes, but not pulling a label on it, and just think about it. Your dude's about to go out, fly somewhere, travel, you're going to get that booty call in before he leaves. Bye. But let's keep going. It says Raquel is spending quality time with Thomas Sandoval, and they're cozy enough to be hanging together in the very home where Tom lives with Ariana Madix for years. The Vanderpump Rules villainess, to most fans, was outside Tom and Ariana's place tossing a bag into the trunk of her car on Wednesday around 4 p.m. Now, this is really funny. The bag that she has, it's from a company called Base, or Base, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I believe it means kiss. And they posted on their Instagram, they're like, this is not a sponsored post. They're like, we create the bag, not the baggage. I was like, that's really funny. Anyway, side note. Let's keep going. Here's the thing. Raquel was wearing some very comfy clothes and slides as she made her exit. As for Tom's location, well, he left his home about half an hour after Raquel on his way to catch a flight out of town. Sandoval made his way to LAX around 7 p.m., catching a Southwest flight. He's flying Southwest? Okay. To his hometown of St. Louis. He was flying solo, so apparently he's not ready to bring Raquel home to meet the fam. Photogs brought up the elephant in the room at the airport, as well as a couple more questions, but the guy wasn't in the mood to chat, instead making a beeline to check his bag. However, the fact that he and Raquel are close enough to kick it where he lived with his ex is pretty telling about how close they remain, now that the Sandoval dust is settling. As we reported, Raquel was a no-show in court on Wednesday for the hearing over the restraining order against Scheana Shay. She alleged Sheena attacked her over the affair, but since she skipped court, the restraining order was dismissed. Now we know what or who was more important than court for Raquel. Now that's a really good point. Rachel Raquel is at Sandoval and Ariana's house when she was supposed to be at court lying about Scheana Shay. Now, if you missed that, we all know Sheena did not punch her. She pushed her off of her after Rachel, had grabbed her wrist. She never showed up for the hearing, so obviously it got dismissed and Sheena was vindicated. But I do think it's very telling that she's at Sandoval's house. Now, this is the thing. This is what I think is going on with this. Number one, I think that Tom Sandoval doesn't really have anybody else at this point. I don't even think he has Schwartz. So, of course, he's still hanging out with Rachel Raquel. But I don't think he's hanging out with her because he's like genuinely madly in love with her. I think he's still hanging out with her because he wants to keep her under wraps. We all know she's weird. She's unhinged. She knows where the bodies are buried. And I think he's trying to do as much damage control and reputation rehab that he can. And I think a part of that is keeping a united front with her. I think he's just going to wait it out until he's able to break up with her without her going off the deep end and spilling the tea and all of that, and without him looking even worse than he already looks. That's what I think is going on here. Now, when it comes to Rachel Raquel, like I said before, I think she drinks the Kool-Aid. I think she really thinks she's in this amazing love affair. I think she has zero remorse for what she's done. And it is really disgusting that they're seen at his house. Like, this is also the thing. Rachel Raquel has her own place. She has an apartment. Why couldn't he stop by and see her at her place on the way to LAX? Why did she have to go into Ariana's house? Oh, that's right. She didn't have a problem, and neither did he, having sex multiple times in Ariana's house. Allegedly, on one occasion, Ariana was in the house. And then on the other occasion that we know of, Ariana was in Florida because her grandmother died. So this is a woman who had no problem having sex with her friend's boyfriend underneath the same roof when her friend was actually in the house. So why are we surprised that she has the audacity to do it now? Also, if you guys didn't hear the tea, this is also what Sheena said. Sheena said that, okay, so as we all know, Sheena and Brock actually in real life they don't live in LA. They live in Palm Springs. Shout out to Palm Springs. I'm actually moving there myself for a little bit, but that's for a whole other video. So anyway, so Sheena lives in Palm Springs. She does not actually live in LA anymore. Also, as we know, Lala literally just bought a house next door to Sheena in Palm Springs. Lala, Brock, and Sheena and their babies are doing like a Modern Family type deal. My fingers crossed that goes well, and there's no weird sexual stuff between Lala and Brock. I'm not saying that's true. I'm not saying that is true right now. I'm just speculating. Sometimes you got to be careful with the whole like, thruple, but not a thruple, couples. You just got to be careful. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying got to be careful. Anyway, let's keep it pushing and popping. So the apartment that Sheena films for the show is in Marina Del Rey. That's basically their filming apartment. It's not their real where they live. So when Raquel had no place to go after she broke up with James, Sheena let Raquel stay at that apartment in Marina Del Rey. And Sheena said that Rachel, was like, oh, I finally had sex after James. It was so good, blah, 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 blah. And Sheena was like, oh, good, yay. But like, where did you have sex? And she was like, oh, she had sex in the bedroom that Brock, Sheena, and Sheena's baby, Summer, sleep in when they're at the apartment in Marina Del Rey. Now, mind you, this isn't a small apartment. There's multiple bedrooms. So she's like, why did you have sex in the room, in the bed that I sleep in with my husband and my child, when there's a bedroom that you're supposed to be sleeping in to have sex in? And then Rachel also said that she had sex on the kitchen table. And Sheena was like, oh, you had sex on the kitchen table, the same exact kitchen table where I feed my family, where I have my daughter's high chair? Like, how disrespectful. Like, that's disgusting. And Sheena even had to say to her, did you wash the sheets? Like, did you clean up after yourself? And she was like, oh, no, I guess I'll have to do that. So you're talking about someone who has no respect of other people's boundaries, someone who is that disgusting and dirty. Like, this was not your bachelorette pad to just bust it open and dip it and doing it. If it's your own apartment or home, knock yourself out. But if your friend is doing you a favor by letting you stay in their place, be respectful. Sure, live your life. You're single, you're young, do whatever you want to do. But don't have sex in the bed where she shares with her husband and her child, and you don't even have the decency to clean the sheets. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. So, eek, 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 eek. And the more and more it comes out about Raquel and Tom, it seems like I think we already know Tom Sandoval has been like having sex with multiple women basically forever. Like, I don't think he's really been faithful to anyone. And it's already come out, and I'll just say allegedly, but it's down there on the banner. He, hasn't been faithful. And it's weird to even say faithful to Raquel, given she was a side chick. But he's had sex with multiple women in addition to Raquel. But it also seems like maybe Rachel was also not, and again, it's weird to say wasn't being faithful when it's somebody else's man, but it seems like she was dipping it and doing it and having sex and busting it open for other dudes too. So I don't know why they're trying to say they have this like fairy tale love affair and they're so into each other and blah, blah, blah. And they just, all this stuff, when it seems like both of them have been dipping it and doing it, hooking up with Schwartz, hooking up with Oliver, hooking up with Peter. Sure, it may be for a storyline, but that's still not a good look. And then don't forget about that Joey guy. That's the 6th guy on the show. So Joey is the guy that they are now saying is the guy that she was hooking up with at Coachella. Is that true or not? I don't know. That's what they're saying. But he obviously hangs out with that same crew, that same group of people. So that's 6 dudes. It's James, Tom, Peter, Oliver, and now this guy Joey, who's also a part of that same friend group. So that's at least 6 dudes she's had some type of sexual romantic encounter with. I'm not slut shaming. I'm not saying what she's doing is wrong. I'm just highlighting a pattern. Because I personally don't care how many people she sleeps with or hooks up with. Not my business. I don't care. Knock yourself out. It's just the cheating and the audacity of it all and the disrespect that I'm highlighting. You know what I mean? Absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think Tom realizes that, and I said this in my other video, I think he realizes he kind of bit off more than he can chew. I think when it comes to Rachel Raquel and Tom Sandoval, I actually think she's a little bit scarier than he is. Do I think he's narcissistic and egotistical? 100%. I think he's very childish and immature and, you know, almost like Peter Pan syndrome, the boy who never grew up. But there's something different about Rachel Raquel. There's something particularly off. There's a different type of tick boom. And Lala and Sheena were talking about it today on Sheena's podcast. And she was just like, you know, Sheena was crying and she was like, I don't know who Rachel is. You know, I'm mourning my friendship with Raquel. Like, I don't even know. She hasn't even said sorry. She showed no remorse, like nothing. And Lala basically was like, well, yeah, because the person that you thought Raquel was an illusion. That's a fantasy she created for you. The real person is Rachel. And it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Lala and Sheena also said that, and this was some of the tea that they were spilling about the reunion, was that Raquel did not cry. She did not shed a single tear. She laughed, she smiled, and she smirked. And I believe that. That is some psycho stuff. It's like, even if you're like, you know what, I was just being really selfish. I was really into this guy. He was gassing me up. I made a mistake. You know, I ruined my friendship. If you have any ounce of like humanity in you, even if you think you're in love with this guy, you still feel empathy. You still feel for the other person. And you're like, I messed up. I'm so sorry. And I feel like if you're a decent human being, like, you would probably be upset and you'd cry and you'd be like, I'm so sorry. You know, I didn't mean to hurt you. I was being selfish. I was thinking about myself. I know what I did was wrong. I don't know who I was. I'm so sorry. You say something like that, you know? Like, I feel bad when I'm driving and I accidentally like cut off the person who's trying to like walk across the street. I'm always like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I feel bad because, you know, when you like kind of go over the line and then the person has to like walk around your car, I'm always like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel bad for that. I can't imagine doing the crap they did. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But you guys, before we move on to our next story and stick around, Candy Canes, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and also join our newsletter. It's down below, and our Patreon if you want. I just launched a new Patreon. That's more for self-care and self-love, but we can also add some pop culture in that too. So go ahead and check it out down below. So with that, let's move on to our next crazy story. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Now, everybody is coming out of the woodworks having their opinions on what's going on with Rachel Raquel doing her booty call sleepover at Tom Sandoval's. And then also Tom Schwartz's girlfriend, Jo Winberg, ex-best friend to Kristen Doute, is also weighing in. Now, also on Scheana Shay's podcast that she did with Lala, Lala spilled more tea about the foursome and the double dates, and so did Sheena, that Jo and Tom and Raquel and Tom would do. Jax also weighs in. All right, so let's get into it. Now, the first image, and if you can't see it, I will read it for you. So this is Get Low 89. Now, Get Low 89, if you don't know who it is, this is one of Ariana's best friends. This is the guy who she was like, oh, I'm having the pool party. I need everybody to come over. You know, let's do pool culture, blah, blah, blah. He's blonde. He's gay. He's been on the show. I don't know his exact name, so I apologize for not knowing his technical name, but that's who this person is, okay? So he's clapping back, again, on behalf, in my opinion, on behalf of Ariana. I think that she is saying, you know, go ahead and clap out. So this is the picture of Rachel Raquel when she's coming out of Tom Sandoval's house. Page 6 says, hashtag pump rules star Rachel Raquel, well, that's what I'm calling her. Raquel was caught leaving Tom Sandoval's home Wednesday afternoon after a sleepover, ... Now, this is how he's clapping back. He says, is this how y'all are making amends, righting your wrongs? The robot has her own apartment. Go there. Go anywhere else. Why did we get so much crap for being at the house watching Beyonce music videos, but it's okay to have Rachel over? Maybe at least pretend to have some decency for the cameras at least. And don't worry, Tom, I texted you about this before posting. I know that bugged you before. Now, this is the thing, you guys. This is the thing. I think that Tom Sandoval, and this is just what I think, and I want to know what you think, did not want Rachel Raquel to come over and to be spotted and to be seen. I think that Tom Sandoval wants the smoke to die down, but only in a way, but I still think he still wants attention, but not this negative attention. Oh, thank you so much, Juanita, for the super sticker and being a channel member. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Juanita. Thank you. Now, this is the thing, right? Because I don't think the paparazzi was just happenstance outside of his house. I think they called him. I think it's that same Joshua paparazzi, the same one when Rachel Raquel called him and she was outside of the Blush Nail before the reunion, the same Joshua that interviewed Ariana in the strip mall, and then the same Joshua that interviewed Tom Sandoval also in a different strip mall. I think it's the same guy, and I think that they called him, right? But the thing is, I think she called the paparazzi on this because I think Tom Sandoval wants to find a way to spin the narrative where he's finding himself, you know, he made the mistakes, hindsight's 2020, and now I'm focusing on my singing career. These are our tour dates. I think he's still narcissistic and egotistical. So I think he still wants to be in the limelight and the attention, but I don't think he wants the negative. Because narcissistic people and egotistical people, they always want to be revered, either as the victim, we have to watch out for them, or as like the savior, amazing complex, right? So I don't think he wants that type of smoke. Whereas I think Rachel Raquel, literally, I think she gets off on the fact that she has no remorse and that she's still with Tom. I think she gets off on it. I think she thinks that makes her better. I think she thinks that makes her cooler. I think she thinks that makes her the it girl. Like, I think that Rachel Raquel, like, gets off on it, right? So I think she would call them and would want that. So I don't really see Tom and Raquel lasting that much longer, right? I think that Tom was pissed that this was happening because he doesn't want any more negative press. He doesn't. That's what I think. Okay? That's what I think. I don't think he was happy with the situation. But at this, and this was the other part to that, okay? But I think he agreed to it because, like I said before, I think that Tom Sandoval at this point is scared of pissing off Raquel. I think he too has seen her mask slip because Raquel is different from Kristen. She's different from Ariana. She's a different beast than what he's used to. I think that he's actually kind of scared of her at this point because let's not forget, this is a chick who was willing to file a false police report. This was a chick who was willing to get a temporary restraining order by submitting false police documents. As we all know, she lied on Sheena. This is a chick who was willing to let her PR team or her legal team or whatever team that is still rocking with her create the narrative that he filmed her without her permission, which is a crime. Filming somebody in a sexually compromising position without their consent is a crime. She said that he did that to her. This is a woman who was willing to say that he basically groomed her. Oh, I have a love addiction. I'm codependent. I'm blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And, da, 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 da. So I think he's kind of like, wait a minute. This is like fatal attraction. Like, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for some like sex, for like some fun, crazy sex. I signed up for an ego boost. I signed up for cheating on my girlfriend. I signed up on sticking it to James. I signed up for, having a fangirl around me, but I didn't sign up for a fatal attraction. Like, I didn't sign up for the okie doke. I think Tom Sandoval is in over even his head. If that makes sense. I think he is even like, wait a minute, abort mission. What the hell? Like, I really think Raquel Rachel is like a next level situation going on. Because if you think about it, yeah, Tom Sandoval's a jerk. He cheated, and the way he cheated was absolutely disgusting. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He gaslights, he lies, he cries victim, he blah, 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 blah. We get that. He's an absolute mess. He deserves what he gets. He's not being absolved of this. But I think there's something extra chicky boom about Rachel Raquel that even Tom is like, wait a minute. Like, let me slowly back away so I don't scare you. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I think is going on with him and that situation. Now, let's move over to the next image. So if you can't see it, in the image, it's Raquel Rachel and Joe Winberg. So Joe Winberg is Tom Schwartz's girlfriend. She's a hairdresser or something like that. She has been friends or a part of, the Vanderpump Rules group for years, but not on the show, like in their real life. She used to be best friends with Kristen Doute, but Kristen Doute has since cut ties from her. All right, now let's go. Underneath, it says from Pump Rules, Joe is Avi Team Raquel, source anonymous. If you don't know who Joe is, she was mentioned early in season 10. Schwartz described her as a, quote, friend who was staying with him. I posted the clip previously. Kristen Doute also said Joe was her BFF for years. Now, I don't think Joe is Tom Schwartz's friend. It's pretty much confirmed it's his girlfriend. She was staying with him at his apartment. And also, Katie Maloney has come out and said Joe is psycho. She has like weird energy. She's come out and trashed her. Also, Lala does not like Joe. Sheena does not like Joe. And then it also came out that Joe, Tom Schwartz, Tom Sandoval, and Raquel were having basically double dates for months. Sheena said that even when all of the girls had gone to Vegas for Brittany's birthday, Raquel didn't go because she was in Big Bear with Tom, and Joe. So they have been doing all of these different types of double dates and stuff. Sheena says that she had Find Her Friends on her phone with Raquel, and Raquel would turn off her location whenever she was, and now looking back on it, they realized that Raquel would turn off her location anytime she was creeping with Sandoval. So the four of them have been doing all of these double dates, this, that, and the third. Now, this is the thing. This also really makes Tom Schwartz, he has no plausible deniability. I know that Schwartz and Sandoval are trying to lie, in my opinion, and say that Schwartz only recently found out. BS. How do you only recently find out that Tom Sandoval and Raquel are having an affair if for months you've been going on double dates with them? For months. What do you think they were doing in Big Bear in their own room together? Like, what do you think was happening there? So that really proves that this entire season, and even prior to that, Tom Schwartz and Raquel really were just lying and playing in our faces as a decoy, because they were doing the double dates before filming even started. Meaning, and this is another reason why you know that, because even on the show, Joe was staying at Tom Schwartz's apartment. So if Tom Schwartz and Joe are already a couple and they're double dating with Sandoval and Raquel, then how in the hell is Schwartz and Raquel allegedly, supposedly having a thing for each other? How does that make sense? Obviously, the four of them were double dating, and they came up with this bizarre, incestuous, weird, gross scheme for a storyline and for some get back and for some decoy that Schwartz and Raquel were going to be supposedly into each other. That's how we know that Schwartz is lying through his teeth, Sandoval is, and so is Raquel. You can't be double dating for months with people with your two girlfriends and then all of a sudden be like, psych, let's explore what we are for the cameras. That's why it seems more on the show that Schwartz and Raquel have more of like a brotherly, like big brother, little sister. On the last episode, like, oh, she's like peeing in the bathroom and he's like standing watch. There's nothing sexual between Schwartz and Raquel. Like even the kiss that they're going to show at Sheena's wedding, it's very staged and awkward. It's very platonic-y. It's very brother and sister, because that's how he sees Raquel and that's how she sees him. So when she's out here doing the press being like, no, I really wanted to see, like I had, an interest. I wanted to see where it would go. Well, if it's true that Raquel and Tom had some sexual stuff going on, then why is his now girlfriend windmilling for you? Joe says, I like everything about you, everything. If I'm Joe and I've been dating Tom Schwartz, and then I actually believe that the entire time I've been dating him and double dating with her, she's been behind my back trying to get with him, then that makes Joe Ariana. That makes Joe, the girl who has the boyfriend and her friend is trying to get with him sexually. I'm not going to be posting, I like everything about you, everything. No, because Joe was in on the okie doke too. She knew they were lying for the cameras. She knew it was a storyline, and she knew it was get back. Another reason, do you notice how this season, to me, Tom Schwartz, just when it comes to Katie, he just gives off guilty energy. He smells guilty around Katie when he's not defending her, at the party about, stupid Mexico rooms or whatever, stupid resort rooms, this dumbest, thing ever. Jamie, this is the thing. If you snooze, you lose. If you didn't get your room in time or you didn't have the confirmation in time, that's not Katie's problem. And then later on, he says, I should have stayed neutral. I just should have left, because he knew that's what he should have done. But he just smells guilty. And then he knows that Katie is hurting because Scheana Shay keeps pushing Raquel onto her in her face, and Raquel is pushing onto Schwartz in her face. But instead of Schwartz saying, hey, Katie, this isn't real, he lets Katie believe it's real and have her suffer this entire time. And you can smell the guilt on him. Because I don't think Schwartz is necessarily a bad person. I think he's done some really bad stuff. I think he's very weak. He doesn't have a backbone. I also think he's very, very selfish. Very, very, very selfish. I don't think he gets involved. I don't think he does anything unless he knows it affects him or benefits him. And he doesn't care who gets hurt in the process. I think he's an extremely selfish person. But he masks it with, oh, I don't know, I'm just Schwartz, blah, 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 blah. But he's extremely selfish. and he just gets away with it and he does the dirt. So I'm not saying he's a good guy. I don't think he's a good guy. But I do think I could see him. I think he felt really guilty, if that makes sense. Okay? Now, I want to know what you guys think, as always, before we move on to our next story. And stick around, my candy canes, because I want to take some of your Canadian questions and comments. But as always, you know what to do. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, and join our newsletter or Patreon, which are linked down below in the show notes. So with that, let's move on to our next story. Now, this is Lala, Kent, and Sheena spilling some more of the reunion tea. I know earlier we talked about it, but let's do a little bit of a deeper dive. So this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Lala Kent is dishing on the recently filmed Vanderpump Rules reunion. Before sharing her thoughts on Tom Sandoval's recent date with Raquel in Los Angeles, Lala reacted to a fan question on Amazon Live, which asked if it was Sandoval and Tom Schwartz who were involved in a near brawl at the season 10 reunion. I'm not going to say who it was. I will say Andy Cohen got involved. He could hardly control it, so security got involved. I won't say who was trying to brawl or whatever, but it was a very heated the entire day, Lala admitted on Amazon Live via TikTok. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I think it's James and Tom Schwartz. That's who I think almost came to blows. I think it's James and Tom Schwartz. But, you know, Jax Taylor came out and all he said was the boys. And the boys could be James and Tom Schwartz. It could be James and Tom Sandoval. It could be Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz. So put it down below. What do you guys think? According to Lala, she and her castmates got calls from producers prior to the taping, asking them if they wanted them to wait to bring Sandoval and Raquel, whose affair was revealed in early March, out until after other storylines of the season were addressed. I said, everyone's storyline is important. I know that this happened. I'm sorry that Ariana is hurt, but like my storyline is important and whatever I'm affected by. Katie Maloney, she was deeply affected by a lot of people in this group. Scheana Shay, my girl got married. We should be able to talk about all of those things, Lala recalled. Now, this is the thing. I agree with that. However, this scandal has tentacles, right? It's really infiltrated every single aspect of everybody else's storyline. So it's like you can't talk about other people's storylines without talking about the scandal, because it infiltrated every single piece of it. You know, you talk about Scheana Shay's wedding. Oh, well, everyone is saying that Tom Sandoval and Raquel disappeared for 3 hours because they were off having sex. You know, now everybody's talking about, you know, Katie wasn't able to come to your wedding and the two of you were beefing because you were pushing Raquel under Schwartz the entire time. And now you know that you were being completely played because Raquel was smashing Sandoval the entire time and using you and Schwartz as a decoy. How do you feel about that? You know, so it's like there's so many things now what the scandal really affects. You know, Lala saying, you know, Katie was really hurt, but now we know the entire time the Raquel and Schwartz storyline was fake. It was a lie. It was an intentional decoy, and they used Sheena. So how does Katie now feel about that when she was giving Raquel a pass and just going off against Sheena? You know, she's missed her wedding. You know, she didn't invite her on the Vegas trip. You know, that their friendship was severely fractured. That's a big deal. You're going to look back on those memories and be like, I missed my friend's wedding because my ex-husband was lying to me and someone that I considered a friend was lying to me. And I missed my friend's wedding. You know, that's a big memory that's a moment not to be a part of. So it's like everything that they've done infiltrates it. You know, even Lala's storyline, you know, Sandoval going after her. Oh, you're such a bully. You're such a bully. Can't believe you slept with James 6 years ago when him and Raquel first started dating. Meanwhile, he's been busting it open with Raquel for 7 months to a year. But yet you want to talk about Lala drunkenly hooking up with James 6 years ago when James and Raquel literally had just met? But you want to be that self-righteous and yell at Lala, yell at Katie, acting like they're these horrible people? But yet you've really been just, busting it open with Raquel in Ariana's house, dressing up as her as Halloween, like a weirdo, having these, lightning bolt necklaces together. Like, what is that psychotic stuff? So there's no way for them to only talk about their storylines without being in the context of the scandal, right? So we'll see how it goes, how they figure it out, right? All right, let's keep going. However, while she believed in her naive mind that she and her co-stars would be able to address other things, tensions rose quickly. The second I sat down, it was nails up, two fingers directed at whoever I was talking to. I was like completely blacked out. I can't even tell you what happened, she admitted. It was like the most intense day, and I won't even lie. When I left, I felt disgusted. I felt sick. I was like, my energy was off. I felt like I was in a room with two people who I don't want their energy near me, Lala continued. I definitely saged myself. I saged the house, I saged my bags, and the things that I took into the reunion. I wanted to sage anything that went into that space. In other pump news, Lala slammed Sandoval as a one-trick pony. On her podcast, she reacted to his calculated post-reunion dinner date with Raquel. They went to Musso and Frank after the Pump Rule Season 10 reunion taping. Lala said on the March 29th episode of Give Them Lala via Page 6. It was the same place that he took Ariana for their 9-year anniversary back in January. That's where they went. That's sick. That is very sick and psycho. According to Lala, Sandoval has exhibited the same patterns with Raquel, but is no longer taking her to little places he did before their affair was exposed. Now he's been outed, so Raquel has been upgraded, Lala said. She's no longer a mistress, so she's whatever she is or isn't. We're taking her to Musso and Frank for a bottle of wine and some oysters. That is absolutely crazy. But I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation, about the reunion, other things that they have said about the reunion. So Lala and Sheena both said that Sandoval and Raquel basically had zero remorse for what they did, like zero remorse. They also said that Raquel did not shed a single tear. She just laughed and smirked. And she basically was unapologetic, just being like, yeah, it happened, whatever. And was just being really weird and creepy. It's just a lot of very psycho things. And like, as we said earlier, Sheena also said that Raquel had sex in the same bed that Sheena and Brock and her baby sleep in. When Sheena let Raquel have a place to stay when she had broken up with James, their Marina Del Rey apartment, without cleaning the sheets, and that Raquel also has sex with some random guy on the kitchen table where she like feeds her family and was like, did you clean up after yourself? And she was like, no. So this is the type of person we're dealing with. Like, no regard, no boundaries, no decency, no thought for other people. If you're letting me stay in your home or stay in your apartment, I'm not going to have sex in the bed that you share with your husband and your child when I have my own room. It's not like it's a 1-bedroom apartment. It's a multi-bedroom apartment in Marina Del Rey. They're huge. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And then Sandoval, they said, as we know, was just being super defensive, gaslighting, basically blaming Ariana for everything. They said that Ariana really kept her cool. She looked amazing. She wore a red dress, and she really slayed with her words, and she really got them. Also, Sheena said that they did the reunion like I said that they would. Go back and listen to my episodes because remember I was like, how much is 100 yards? I was like, how big is that? And you guys were like, Candy, it's a football field. I was like, oh. Anyway, but they did the reunion the way I said that they would do it in segments, that they would have Sheena come out. She would film for her segment, boom, boom, boom. They would have her leave. And then they would make sure that Sheena and Raquel physically did not cross paths. So like when Sheena would be in her dressing room, then Raquel could come onto stage, do her part, boom, 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 whatever the case is. And then they would make sure that they strategically did not cross paths. But didn't I say that they would have both of them there in person? And that's what happened. No Zoom or anything like that. So, yeah, so that's what they did. They just had them both in person, but they strategically didn't cross paths or whatever the case was. Ugh. But I want to know what you guys think of the situation. What do you think about Andy Cohen having to physically restrain someone, but he wasn't strong enough, so security got in? I think it's James and Schwartz, but we'll see. Put it down below who you think. What do you think about Rachel Raquel showing no remorse and really being defiant and smirking and laughing and just being silent instead of, offering apologies? What do you think about that? What do you think about, Raquel having the audacity to call the paparazzi to tape her leaving Ariana and Tom Sandoval's house, clearly after a booty call, And what do you think? Like, do you agree? I don't think that Tom Sandoval wanted to be spotted with Raquel leaving the house. I think he's strategically trying to appease her in certain ways, but I also think he's trying to figure out his exit strategy. We also read that article earlier about, sources close to Tom, aka Tom himself, being like, oh, we really like each other, but we've realized that like the odds are stacked against us as a couple, and we just want to take our time and blah 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 blah. To me, I think that's him pre-paving the narrative for when he's able to dump Raquel. You know what I mean? I think he's really trying to figure out a way of how he's going to get out of it. Because just like Lala said, and I agree, it's just a pattern for Tom. Rachel Raquel is just another Kristen, another Ariana, another Miami girl, another fangirl, except that Rachel Raquel has a different type of tick boom. It's a different type of tick boom. And I think he's like, this is fatal attraction. I'm worried. And another reason why I think that is because just think logically. Even if you are a narcissistic, egotistical jerk, whatever, would you stay with someone who had the capability? Like I said earlier, would you stay with someone who had the capability of filing fake police reports, taking legal action against somebody knowing that they're lying? Would you stay with someone who basically told the world that you videotaped them in a sexually compromising position without their consent when you didn't, knowing that's a lie? Would you stay with someone who had no problem telling the world that you basically groomed them and took advantage of them when they were vulnerable? Would you stay with someone who has no problem telling the world that about you? No. But you would stay with them if you were scared of, well, if they're capable of that, what else are they capable of? That's why I think Rachel Raquel is on a different level of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy than everybody else. Kristen Doty, lover or hater, she's just a regular cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs girl. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Kristen is just out here when she was doing her thing. Like, she's not that different than anybody else, in the 20s, dipping it and doing it, drinking and popping off. Ariana, sure, she shouldn't have cheated on, she shouldn't have cheated with Tom when he was in a relationship. I get it. But that's not anything special or different than your average girl who's out there, low self-esteem and thinks that she's going to feel better about herself, because she's cheating with this guy and she wants him to pick her. It's not right, but I don't think it's that remarkable. But Rachel Raquel, this is a different type of cuckoo. This is a different type of cuckoo. It's a different type of cuckoo. And I think even he is like, wait a minute, I bit off more than I could chew. Because Tom was dead wrong for everything he's done. Everything he's done, he's dead wrong for. But I don't believe the lies that Rachel Raquel has said. I don't think he groomed her. I don't think he taped her without her consent. I think he's a cheater. I think he's a liar. I think he has narcissistic tendencies. I think he's ego. He's an immature little boy. But I don't think he's a predator. And if he doesn't have the wherewithal to understand that is essentially what her and her team are saying about him, then he's really lost the plot. But she didn't have a problem doing a temporary restraining order, lying to the LAPD, lying to our court system, saying that Scheana Shay punched her, submitting false documents. She didn't have a problem doing that. She wouldn't have a problem saying, Tom did this to me, Tom did that to me. So, of course, he's trying to figure out, how do I get out of this situation without her popping off? Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. And before you do that, my candy canes, you know what to do. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Join our newsletter and our Patreon, which is all linked down below in the show notes. And with that, I'm going to drop the link